2019 has been another transformative year in thoracic oncology as practice-changing data continue to emerge. In this enclave peer exchange discussion, my colleagues and I will discuss the data from the World Conference on Lung Cancer and the ESMO annual meetings. We will provide perspective on how the latest research will translate to patient care and your clinical practice. I am Dr. Suresh Ramalingam, Professor and Deputy Director at Winship Cancer Institute of Emory University in Atlanta, Georgia. Today, I'm joined by Dr. Bing-Chul Cho, Professor in the Division of Medical Oncology, Yonsei Cancer Center, Yonsei University College of Medicine in Seoul, South Korea. Dr. Pasi Jani, Director of the Low Center for Thoracic Oncology, Director of the Belfer Center for Applied Cancer Science, and Professor of Medicine in the Harvard Medical School at Harvard University in Boston, Massachusetts. And Dr. Johan van Steenkiste, Professor of Internal Medicine in the Faculty of Medicine at the Catholic University of Leuven in Leuven, Belgium, and Head of Clinic and Respiratory Oncology Unit at the Leuven University Hospital in Leuven, Belgium. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's begin. So we're here talking about a lot of exciting information that has been presented at the most recent World Conference and the ESMO conference. We want to first talk about targeted therapies. A lot of progress has been made in targeted therapies in the past few years in lung cancer. We now have at least 5 different molecular targets for which there are FDA-approved therapies. EGFR being the most common molecular abnormality for which we have targeted therapy options. We saw the overall survival results from the FLAURA study that were presented. FLAURA study compared osimertinib to either erlotinib or gefitinib in patients with newly diagnosed advanced stage EGFR-mutated non-small cell lung cancer. We had already heard the PFS results of FLAURA study earlier in the form of a presentation at ESMO 2017 and subsequently as a paper in New England Journal. The median PFS was improved from 10.2 months in the control group to 18.9 months with osimertinib. The duration of response was almost 2-fold higher with osimertinib. Now we have the overall survival results. We now know that overall survival, which was a secondary endpoint in the FLAURA trial, was improved substantially. The median overall survival with osimertinib was 38.6 months compared to 31.8 months in the control group, which was clinically and statistically significant. The median survival was improved by approximately 6.8 months for patients treated with osimertinib. And this is the first time we've seen survival advantage with one TKI compared to another TKI. The other point in FLAURA study I was struck by is the control group. The median survival for the control group is the highest recorded in contemporary EGFR clinical trials, which we think is because of the crossover of patients to receive osimertinib after they had progressed on erlotinib and gefitinib. So the FLAURA study now has confirmed osimertinib's efficacy as a frontline agent for EGFR-mutated disease. And I want to get our faculty's thoughts on how these data fit into the treatment landscape. So Cho, let me ask you how you view these overall survival data building on what we already knew about osimertinib's efficacy in the frontline setting.
So this is the first randomized clinical trial comparing third-gen EGFR TKI osimertinib and first-gen EGFR TKI gefitinib or erlotinib, and also first randomized clinical trial to demonstrate overall survival benefit with a third-gen EGFR TKI over first-gen EGFR tyrosine kinase inhibitors. So I think this trial really tell us that why we should use third-gen EGFR TKI osimertinib in advanced EGFR-mutated non-small cell lung cancer.
And Johan, when you think about the perspective of a practicing oncology who does not necessarily specialize in lung cancer, what should they take away from the FLAURA results for their clinical practice?
Well, in my view, this trial reinforces what we know in other settings, that it's best to take the best therapy first. And what we saw in FLAURA, as you said, a 9 months difference in median progression-free survival, And then we also saw better response rate and better disease control in the brain, which is also very important in these patients because during the course of their disease, about half of the patients will develop brain metastasis. So if you can do something there, and you can do it with osimertinib, that's a very important point as well. And now that here at ESMO the overall survival data have been presented, being significantly different, this means that the 3 different endpoints of the trial, PFS as a primary, and then brain control and overall survival as key secondary endpoints, that all 3 are met. And so this matters for a patient, and I'm especially happy that now the difference in CNS control is of formal significance now, because what you see in a patients with EGFR-mutant non-small cell lung cancer, if they develop brain metastasis, you can manage that, but usually they're never the same patient again. So therefore, I think giving this best drug first really is my preferred strategy.
Thank you. So, Pasi, when you look at the landscape of existing EGFR TKIs, the first and second generation drugs, and osimertinib, what is the optimal way to sequence this plethora of agents in this setting?
Well, I agree with Johan that use your best drug first, and I think this one with known improvement in overall survival, not just statistically but clinically with almost 7-month improvement, that's pretty staggering. And I think the practice of using your best drug first should be what we would do, and I think in the US have been doing since the approval based on the PFS, and I think this further reinforces that practice pattern.